The Flus is almost here. A lot to do on today's show. Adam Jahns, Jeff Cavanaugh, DLLS. We're previewing the Cowboys. We got Chase Bandelick. If you don't know who that is, coolest guy going. Huge show. Don't go anywhere. CHGO Bears starts right now. This is the CHGO Bears Podcast, proudly presented by our friends at Bet365. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app. Use the code CHGO365 when you sign up. $200 in bonus bets when you get it going with a $10 deposit. Alongside my handy-dandy trusty partner, Gregory P. Allen. Braggs back from his latest traffic accident, which you mentioned on yesterday's show. You feeling all right?
Yep.
You wanted to kill somebody today before the show, but that's, organization and stuff is all in the rearview mirror because you are focused on the Cowboys.
I don't even remember who I wanted to kill this morning.
Some paper that you should have dropped off or something.
Oh, yeah. My damn insurance agent. My insurance agent, Mike. I come to his office to give him the paperwork on the estimate. He told me to fax it, scan it to him. Then I freaking drop it off personally. He talks Bears with me for 20 minutes. It's in my back pocket. Then he has me take a picture in front of the insurance sign outside, and I never gave him the paper.
These things happen. I didn't mean to say that. I'm sorry that I brought you into that.
Mike?
That's on me. And you, Mike. Do you think
Why is it still in my pocket?
Mike? What kind of insurance agent is that? Shout out to my insurance agent, whoever he is. The great Mandy, actually. She's out there somewhere doing a phenomenal job. All right. Look, it's Flus week. It's Caleb talking about Flus. It's the Bears needing we need a win. We got a ton to do. Adam Jahns is at Halas Hall. We'll talk to him in about 10 minutes. Jeff Cavanaugh, as I mentioned in the update, just dominating for us, DLLS, covering the Cowboys. So we'll take a look at the Cowboys. And our guy Chase Bandelick, who's running 1 mile for every point that the Bears lose by each week. The dude had to go 31 miles last week.
What an idiot.
Well,
how's that going for you?
The Tribune did a feature on him. We need to get him on the show, so he'll be here at 2 o'clock today. But let's start off, Gregory, with the task at hand, which is the QB report, which is proudly sponsored by our friends at RC Cola. Man, RC so delicious. RC Cola, not just a soft drink, just damn good cola. Grab yourself an RC. I've actually completely loving the sponsorship and drinking maybe a couple too many RCs every single day, but am I enjoying them. So thank you to our friends at RC. All right. We got a little soundbite for you. And, yes, the QB report is all about the QB. So let's hear from Caleb, and let's hear from yesterday. And, Steven, I believe we're doing our chess match with Flus and the Cowboys. So here we go. Chess match. You, Flus, Dallas, Bears, Ben Johnson. What do you have to say about it, Caleb?
Yeah, I think every game is a chess match. And being able to adjust and adjust again and adjust again, because that's what football constantly comes down to, through all 4 quarters, being able to adjust and figure out what they're doing, and then when they, change it up or have their little wrinkle for that week, you're able to adjust and adjust one more again. So, that's kind of what playing point guard is. Defense throws a bunch of stuff at you, and being able to just decipher what it is, and maybe it's a check down that goes for 4 yards to keep us ahead of sticks, or on track, or it's being able to find maybe a deep throw and kind of throw the dagger in there and go make big plays for the for the Chicago Bears. So I think it's a constant chess match throughout each week, and like you said, he was my coach. He's a defensive coordinator, and he coached me, and he had tendencies himself, and I had tendencies myself, and I think I've grown, and he's probably grown as a D coordinator. So just being able to, like I said, go in there and adjust.
I can't help but laugh about the whole thing. He coached me, and now he's growing as a defensive coordinator. Are they going to hug it out? I think they might hug it out.
They might.
But that's going to be one fake hug.
Yeah, well, I mean, you saw Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell's, post-game handshake was pretty quick. I have a feeling the Flus-Caleb post-game handshake is going to go fairly quickly.
I mean, there was Ed Werder tweeted out today that, Matt Eberflus, what do you think about the reaction you're going to get in Chicago? Haven't thought about it. And I almost believe him. Because Matt Eberflus, I don't want to dunk too hard on the Flus here, but that was just kind of unbelievable. You know what I would have liked if Caleb had said yesterday? We're over here playing chess, but, I was with Matt Eberflus for a year, and I got to be honest, I think he's playing checkers. What if he just went checkers on the Flus?
What if Caleb's like, I got something up my sleeve for Flus here on Sunday?
I'll tell you one thing. I might just call a timeout just to troll the Flus on Sunday. I might start the game with the timeout just to and stare down the Cowboy sidelines. I don't think that Matt Eberflus and Caleb will be going to dinner ever, let alone sometime before the game this weekend. But there you go.
Should be an interesting matchup. As I've said a few times here this week on some of the different shows we've done, I think the Matt Eberflus that we're used to here in Chicago in terms of how he calls a defense and wanting more aggressiveness from Matt Eberflus throughout the years, I think you're going to see that aggressiveness. I think Bears fans might be frustrated on Sunday seeing how aggressive he is against Caleb Williams, because I do think he's going to dial up the blitz quite a bit.
Well, I do hope along those lines, let's flip that on the vice versa. Look, the Detroit Lions came out with an absolute, the most amount of motivation you could possibly have to prove that there's a ton of talent on that Detroit team and it wasn't Ben Johnson, and that they were angry at Ben Johnson for leaving and going to a division rival, despite the fact that any one of them would have made the same decision if somebody was getting a raise to $13 million a year for wherever Ben was getting paid. Can't blame Ben at all. But they were highly motivated. I would hope that the Bears would take a page out of the Lions playbook on that one.
Absolutely.
And a lot of you didn't like that dude, so put it on him. Have a little extra bounce to your step to go at fair or unfair how much you want to blame Matt Eberflus for 10 losses in a row last year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, to me, you're right. The Lions players played for Ben Johnson. The Bears players played for Matt Eberflus. Anybody it's a vendetta for Eberflus personally, but how many players on the Cowboys? I know there's a couple former Bears on that roster, but how many players on that roster are really going to be like, yeah, let's go to war this week for Flus because he was done wrong in Chicago? That vibe should be more on the Bears side of things because there's more of a personal vibe and emotion to it. So I'm with you there.
And you would hope too, but on the other side of that, I'm wondering if Matt Eberflus got any sleep this week, because I guarantee you he is as motivated as he could possibly be to put it on the Bears and put it on Poles and whoever else.
And I think that typically would be the case, except for the fact that Dallas is statistically one of the worst defenses in football. They just gave up 37 points to the Giants. They snuck away with a win. And so I think he's probably just worried about making sure, you know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting. If they had a better defense, I think he would be ready for, a full-on attack. But now it's going to be interesting to see how he can come in and adjust off the tough defensive performances they've shown the first 2 weeks, especially with the injuries they have.
Well, I think it's important to note, too, between Deron Bland and Micah Parsons, when Matt Eberflus got there, he had 2 All-Pros that aren't there right now.
Yeah.
Deron Bland's probably going to miss this game as well with the foot injury. So, I mean, that's really going to hurt your defense when you lose 2 All-Pros.
Right. And Micah Parsons is playing for the Cowboys, so this was not the defense that Flus thought he would be coaching. But, Matt Eberflus always moves forward. He's going to be where his feet are, and his feet are without Micah Parsons right now, so good luck on that. Jack Sanborn's going to be very motivated to play against the Bears, you would think. He's been in the middle of that Cowboys defense. And then there's your guy.
My guy.
Reddy Stewart.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, he's going
to get action this Sunday for sure with Deron Bland out. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
We shall see. All right, can we let's do one more on Caleb with about Matt for the first question that was asked to him. He was asked about Matt Eberflus to start. It's the first clip on there, not the chess match one, and it just really underlines how awkward this whole thing is this weekend. So here's one more from Caleb.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same as preparing it each week for me. You got to go out there and execute the plays that Ben calls, and then other than that, I played a bunch of kind of ball versus that defense and kind of how he runs. So it's interesting in a way. Obviously, Matt was my coach obviously last year. So just being able to move past all of that and be able to go out there and help Chicago Bears be 1-0 this week.
Caleb, Ben said that you felt that you improved a lot from week 1 to week 2. Where do you think that you improved, and where do you hope to improve upon from week 2 to week 3?
Yeah, just constant growth. In every form and facet. It's getting the guys out the huddle. If we're on the road and it's third down, it's loud, been able to get the call, get out the huddle, get up to the line, make any checks, allow anybody else to kind of see or make checks or feel pressure or anything like that. And then other than that, just being able to get comfortable with my footwork. I think that's been kind of my focus from week 1 to week 2, and I think why. Some of those passes from week 1 to week 2 kind of looked a little different. My footwork, that was a big focus for me this past week, is being able to focus on that and, kind of just stay in rhythm with myself in the play. And then from there, I think I have, all the talent in the world to be able to deliver a good ball to my guys and let them go and, make plays for us as an offense. So I think just to keep that going, keep focused on my footwork. Obviously, you got to get everything down as a QB, all the plays, all the situations, things like that. So, just consistently growing.
So I love the end of that. I have all the talent in the world. Look, you need to believe in yourself in this world. And Caleb is well aware of the talent that he has. A, run, his legs. B, his arm. I mean, the rocket, the ability to get away from defenders. It's elite, both of them. So it all comes down to what he's talking about there, footwork, putting himself in position, and it just seems to me it's just underlining. Look, I know that if I go about things the right way with my talent level, I'm going to be successful. And that's a hell of a thing to know when your head hits the pillow at night.
Well, and I think you've seen the progression here. In week 1, I think you saw the early development stages of, the scoring on the first drive, getting the ball out of your hands quickly, going 10 for 10. And then in week 2, you saw that next step in that development. And I think that's for all Bears fans are asking for at this point. Can Caleb Williams incrementally develop week to week? It's not going to be a perfect step for step every week, but as long as by week 1 to week 17, there's a start and an end that shows from bottom, now we've worked our way up to the top. And in week 2, for them to come out and score the way they did on the first drive, backing that up with the week 1 drive, and then also after multiple mistakes on the offense, not all on the quarterback, to respond and come back down the football field before the end of the first half and score a touchdown, to me is showing how they are getting closer as an offense to putting together a full 4 quarters. It's not a finished product, but they are getting there. And I think this week against the Cowboys will be a big indicator on how far they've come, because the Cowboys, I think, are susceptible to some big plays. And mind you, the Chicago Bears lead the NFL in explosive plays right now. So I think you are seeing the early signs that this offense is where it needs to go.
All right, Adam Jahns is at Halas Hall. There was a lot of talk about practice habits and Ben Johnson laying it on the table that we do not practice like a championship team. So we'll hit a little bit of Caleb's viewpoint on that, and we'll talk to Johnsy in a second here. But first, Time to tell you about our friends at Bet365. This is the place to bet your football dollars, your baseball dollars. How about your Thursday night dollars with their $10 safety net bet tonight? Who do you like tonight, Gregory?
Well, it's not the Dolphins. I don't even know if the Dolphins players like the Dolphins.
Yeah, you might want to make a bold bet on the Bills tonight. All right, hey, Bet365, we got breaking news here. Win or lose, customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose. So you sign up at Bet365. You use the code CHGO365. You deposit $10 and you place a bet for $5, and you get $200 in bonus bets. If your bet wins or loses, bonus bets can be used on spreads, on totals, on player props, futures, all the things, whatever the moment. Never ordinary at Bet365. You do have to be 21 or older. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only.
That's right, and give a shout-out to our friends over at Four Seasons. Unfortunately, winter will be here before you know it. Is your home's heating up for the challenge, Mark
I
Carman?
don't think it is, buddy. I think I need my friends at Four Seasons.
If you have a plumbing emergency, who do you call?
Four Seasons.
If you have an electrical emergency, who do you call?
Four Seasons. I have that.
And if you need a new hot water tank installed today, who do you call?
Probably need that too. Four Seasons.
Now is the time to schedule your Four Seasons furnace tune-up. Save up to $4,000 on furnaces and comfort systems with Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric has been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com. And make sure you tell them CHGO sent you.
Wonder if they do garbage disposals. Do you need a little help on the garbage disposal? I have to find out about that. I'll call my friends at Four Seasons. About to call up our friend Adam Jahns. But, Johns, I want you to react to this. So we're going to play you a clip here. This was yesterday. This was Caleb. He was asked about his footwork, and then he goes into there's a question about the practice habits here. And this is a little moving function here, if you will, with the Bears and trying to just be better at getting ready each week.
Obviously, footwork is, it's up there with top list of things to be able to be accurate, and that's huge for me, just because all the talent per se, just being able to do some simple basic stuff of just having my feet and eyes all tied together and being in rhythm with the routes and my receivers, and so I think having that and focusing on that each and every week is important, and that's something I'm going to do for the remainder of the season.
All right, let's bring in Johnsy here. Adam, your reactions to Caleb yesterday, a ton of flus in there, obviously, and then he keeps on mentioning the footwork, and just I think it's, for me at least, it was interesting to hear because he's like, look, I'm super talented, and if I do the right things correctly, I'm going to be really successful. And I don't know, it seemed like he was able to bottom line that in a way that he hasn't before.
Yeah, it's playing in structure. It's playing in rhythm. It's playing the way that Ben Johnson wants him to play within the structure of his offense, which I think has probably been the most challenging part. It's a brand new offense for him. A lot of words go into this offense. The verbiage of the play calls can be extensive. They're putting a lot on his plate pre-snap. And then obviously everything he's talking about is post-snap. So to hear him explain that, yes, I think it's a step in the right direction. I thought he'd get better from week 1 to week 2. But these are the things, guys, that he needs to work on every single week. And I think he has been working on every single week that Ben Johnson has been here. So to hear him verbalize the importance of it, especially this week with Matt Eberflus, his former coach, coming in town, I think that's another step in the right direction for him.
Well, speaking of the Flus and the Flus revenge game, you were there for all of it. Every up and every down of the great Matt Eberflus tenure here as we take the temp on what this all looks like. Yeah, I guess, do we have one more on Caleb on this part? No, okay, we're good. I got it. All right, so listen, as we take the temp here on the Flus revenge game, we do this with our friends at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com. What's your temperature on this revenge game, Adam Jahns?
It's going to be hot. It's going to be spicy. It's going to be Well, it's the return of the defensive mind who brought in a lot of these players that are currently on this roster. And guys, just to give you like an advantage point on things, like today, I thought it was very interesting to see that the Bears going through their defensive circuit of just different turnover drills, different takeaway drills, and we saw that a couple times during training camp with Ben Johnson. But this is something that Matt Eberflus did all the time for his players, specifically when they were indoors at the Walter Payton Center like the Bears were today. We could get into that a little bit later, but I just thought it was interesting today. Like, here's the Matt Eberflus Revenge Week, who harped on turnovers and takeaways just like Rod Marinelli did, just like Lovie Smith used to. Here, he's part of that tree. And then you see the Bears today practicing those takeaway drills inside the Walter Payton Center. So everything's coming full circle here, Carm.
Well, I mean, where would you say the biggest advantage lies in terms of familiarity? I mean, you have, Eberflus's knowledge of the Bears offense, right? And how you're going to be able to attack Caleb Williams. But then you also have Eberflus's knowledge of the Bears defense and being able to help the Cowboys offense versus, the guys he's brought in, as you said, or even Caleb Williams and his familiarity of Eberflus's defense that he faced for the last 12 months in practice and things of that nature. So where would you rank the advantages in terms of familiarity?
I almost want to give Matt Eberflus the slight edge just because you have an offense that is still trying to find its way, a young quarterback, still learning how everything works in the Ben Johnson offense. And history shows that Ben Johnson's offense, despite all the fireworks, despite all the firepower, despite all the talent, it struggled against these Matt Eberflus's defenses because they want to play cover two. They want to play zone. They want to make you read the field. They want to make you slowly, methodically work down the field. They want to take away the explosive plays. And we know that Ben Johnson wants to get these explosive plays, and Matt Eberflus's defense is designed to take them away, keep them off the field per se. So,
but let me ask you this then. To that point, yes, Matt Eberflus had success against Ben Johnson's Lions with a certain way that Jared Goff plays, but do you think he approaches his defensive philosophy differently? No, because he knows what Caleb Williams struggles the most with, and that probably is what Brian Flores identified, and that's bringing a lot of pressure, which isn't something Matt Eberflus always does.
You know what? That's a great point, because that's another reason why I think I'm giving Flus the edge in this, because I think he will disguise some things. I think he will break from some of his own patterns, from some of his own tendencies and trends to confuse Caleb Williams, who is still trying to get through, IDing blitzes, IDing where the pressure is coming from, getting things aligned correctly pre-snap, making sure his protection is in the correct place. Everybody's got everything locked up, because that's going to be a struggle for Caleb for the first half of the season. I firmly believe that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's part of the patient process that he's in. So to have an experienced defensive coordinator on the other side, I think, again, this experience, the experiences he has with Caleb, his experience against Ben Johnson, and maybe some of the new wrinkles that he wants to throw at the two of them, I think that's why things might favor, Matt Eberflus a little bit on Sunday.
Hit the like button for Adam Jahns. Hit the like button for Jahns and Hoge.
Can we hit the like button for Gary Lavario, too? He just donated $500 to Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Wow.
Let's go.
Wow. That's
Hit
awesome.
the like button for Gary.
Gary.
You trumped Jahns on that one, although I was going to – you did not interview Kyle Long to the level that John Z. and Hoge did yesterday, but that's awesome, Gary. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And
and there's the donate button at the bottom of the screen where you normally hit the super chat button. You can donate while you're watching live on the show, or if you're listening later, go to bbbs.org/ALLCITY. Any amount makes a huge difference to our friends over at Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Thank you so much, Gary, for the $500 donation.
Gary, you're the man. Big Brothers, Big Sisters, you guys are the best, and we appreciate the partnership. John Z., Dan Roshar was talking about Braxton Jones today. Is that right?
Yeah, I sat and I didn't sit down with him. I talked to him a little bit briefly in the midway of Halas Hall, and I thought it was very interesting because there's some viral clips of Braxton Jones against the Lions that don't look too good for Braxton Jones against the Lions, where he's pretty much being slammed to the ground by a pass rusher. Doesn't look good. But so to hear Dan Roshar kind of explain the process, the the slow uphill battle that Braxton Jones has been going through since his injury and how he starts off games really well. And then, like, later in the game, you see some fatigue, not only physically, which is to be expected given his his ankle injury, but also mentally, which I think ties in together because this has been a fight for Braxton Jones to get back to this place where he's just starting, where he's winning the left tackle competition. He's the starter in week 1. He's the starter in week 2. And now he's trying to find some level of consistency. So to hear his offensive line coach articulate that in a way that I was not expecting him to, that he's going through fatigue literally on game day as the game plays out. Like, that's something of note and something to watch, especially given how important that left tackle battle is or how important that position is really every single week.
How long where do you think their patience level is with Braxton? Because I'm ready to bench him.
Yeah, Bragg's ready to bench him. That was obvious, and he just said it himself. Do you think either on any part of that offensive line to follow up, to add on to that, do you think there's any changes coming?
Well, I would say with Jones, I think the other storyline to watch there is, like, how fast is Theo Benedict coming along? Like, how fast is he improving behind the scenes as opposed to what that patience level, what that fitness level is right now for Braxton Jones? Bouchard made it very clear that they're going to challenge Braxton Jones to get to that level where he was at physically and mentally, so fatigue doesn't come into play later in the game. At the same time, maybe Theo Benedict behind the scenes is starting to push him a little bit more. Maybe he's starting to really grasp what they want to do at left tackle. Maybe he's feeling more comfortable with the way they want to play. So to me, it's two competing storylines and obviously two competing players who were just in that competition not too long ago. Speaking
of behind the scenes, I got a couple interviews that we'll play on pregame on Sunday, one with Dio Odangbo and one with Luke Newman yesterday. Talking to Luke Newman, and Theo Benedict has the locker next to him. And I was asking about, he's playing more left guard than right guard. That's what he's used to playing. And then I asked him about the center thing. And Luke Newman, I think, wanted to bite my head off when I brought up playing center. And Benedict next to us like, he's getting better every day. And he like smacks him and walks away. So there's some good. I enjoy the personality of both those guys, actually. But Theo, if he ever gets to play, you Braggs are going to fall in love with him. Hey, let's flip to the defense, Johnsy. I listened to Dennis Allen today. It was a lot of coach speak, just trying to move forward. But I guess it's slightly positive that Grady Jarrett's back at practice. Is that what's your read on what Dennis had to say today?
Yeah, it looks like Grady Jarrett, more than anything else, is a veteran just managing his body, managing a knee issue that I think is going to need management really the entire season. So the Bears are in no position to have another starter on the sideline at this point. It's been a tough season just in terms of injuries on that defense. So to lose a free agent signing like Grady Jarrett, to have more attrition, it wouldn't be a good thing. But right now it looks like Grady Jarrett is just dealing with something that he's going to have to manage the rest of the way. So we'll see what Dennis Allen has. I mean, guys, this is the other part of the conversation. We talked about Matt Eberflus, but Dennis Allen's defense, they're down to backups, and maybe on some teams, like, those backups are just even third stringers. That's where we're at right now with the Bears. And, like, Matt Eberflus comes into town with Dak Prescott as the Cowboys quarterback. Like, he was going to be a problem for this Bears defense. They're going to have to find a way to get pressure on him. I know they got a center injury themselves to worry about in Dallas, but that offense is potent, it's explosive, and they have an experienced quarterback who could take advantage of a really banged-up Bears defense right now.
We got Jeff Cavanaugh warming up in the bullpen here, Johnsy. So last one for you. I think the number one excitement from last week for Bears fans was seeing Caleb and Rome get on that same page. That connection is your prediction that we'll see more of that this coming Sunday?
You know, it was funny. I was talking to Antoine Randall not too long ago, and I asked him about the connection. I'm like, how do you know it's really clicking? Like, what are the signs on the field? And he started joking around. Like, sometimes it's when, like, Rome is like the second read in a play, and the quarterback will skip number one just to get to the receiver that he knows he's got that trust with, that connection with. And Antoine Randall by no means is saying that's what's happening, but those are the signs that you see on the field. You know, when the pre-snap read isn't what you want it to be, where's your best player? Where's the guy you trust the most? And I think the Bears have that, or they're seeing that right now between Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze. I think Dan Orlovsky just shared a tweet, some stats not too long ago, kind of illustrating that point, just how things are working when the ball is thrown in the direction of Rome Odunze right now.
There you go, Gregory. Remember when you jumped up and down when they drafted Rome Odunze?
Yeah, he's very good.
You're about
I'm
to
glad they're getting him to football.
You're about to jump up and down all day Sunday. Johnsy, we'll see you at Soldier Field. Are you coming to the tailgate?
I'll be there. Should be there by 11:30, boys. It's 2 in a row.
11:30. It's going to be a great day. Come on out. ALLCHGO.com if you got to get yourself a ticket. Johnsy, thanks, brother.
See you, boys.
All right, we're going down to DLLS Dallas. Jeff Cavanaugh is a legend. We'll preview the Cowboys. We're doing that. But first, this episode of CHGO Bears is being brought to you by our friends at PrizePicks. You and I and you, Greg, make decisions every day. But on PrizePicks, you make a good decision. You can get paid. Show your football or any sport expertise by selecting more or less and make yourself a ton of money. If you're looking at tonight, more or less, Josh Allen, 238.5 passing yards, more or less. 238.5. Dalton Kincaid, 32.5 receiving yards. James Cook, 13.5 receiving yards. You're, Steven, I know you have a thought on this.
I have no thoughts.
How about this? Jordan Love versus the Browns this week. 1.5 passing touchdowns, more or less.
More.
Okay, there you go. Hey, you can make a ton of money by picking more or less on 2 to 6 player stats. The further you go, the more money you make. There's all the options out there. PrizePick is so friendly to the user, and yes, it is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today on PrizePicks. This is the place to go. Download the app today. Use the code CHGO to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use the code CHGO to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup.
That's right. I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Factor. They are the X Factor, especially this time of year where you've got a million things going on. It's football season. You don't have time to be making all this food. They're going to make that food for you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. Lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto Meals based on a randomized, controlled clinical trial with Factor Keto. Results will vary depending on diet and exercise. So get started at factormeals.com/CHGO Bears 50 off and use the code CHGO Bears 50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code CHGO Bears 50 off at factormeals.com/CHGO Bears 50 off for 50% plus free shipping.
Right down to Dallas we go as we check in with our friend at DLLS, who's literally been doing everything in the history of football coverage and buddies with Dane Brugler, buddies with Sean Sharif everywhere, and now our teammate here at ALLCITY. And oh, look at him. Is that a Danny White jersey? Jeff Cavanaugh? It's the guy that's in the division. That's what I figure. You're busting out the Micah Parsons. Did you cry when they made that trade? Like, what was your initial reaction in the moment?
I don't really do sports sad, and I don't really do sports mad all that much. But I can absolutely do Jerry mad. And so, no, I just made fun of Jerry and talked about how inept he is and how he's the worst general manager in the history of sports and all that stuff. And this was gifted to me. I've never owned a jersey as a grown man. I just thought it would be funny now that he traded away the best pass rusher on the planet.
It's not funny, Jeff, because you guys traded him to the Green Bay Packers. And while we appreciate not having to deal with Parsons this week, now we have to deal with him twice a year for however many years. And we blame solely you for this.
And that's fine. I'll take that. But here's the thing. Just remember, you guys, it's not like you were going to the playoffs anyway. So, like, it's fine. It's fine. We are the ones that are being punished. We're the ones that traded him for the 32nd overall pick 2 years in a row. We did that. This is our punishment. This is Jerry's punishment because he is the worst general manager in the history of sports. We had a guy trade Luka, and then Jerry was like, oh, you think you can bad GM? Watch me work, brother. So, yeah, we're good.
So you are aware of Chicago Bears ownership up here. We're not exactly setting the world on fire up here. I just, we could have a competition here. I'm not sure if you'd rather have Jerry or George McCaskey. This guy probably right here, you probably would take Jerry, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Like all day.
Well, Jerry's the best. No. Keep it. Don't you mess me up now. Jerry is the best owner ever. He's just the worst general manager ever.
Okay,
and that happens to all be happening in the same body.
Well,
So
that was the
it's
thing,
really
and I know
weird.
we got to get to the Bears-Cowboys game, but I had, a week before the trade, I had watched all that America's Team documentary, and by the end of it, I was like, I love Jerry Jones. I mean, you're talking about, like, my background is a bricklayer for 20. This guy comes from the oil fields, just hard hat, lunch pail, and then turned this whole thing around, flipped the NFL on its head. I came away impressed with his story. I didn't, know the entire thing. Then he trades Micah Parsons. I'm like, never mind, I hate him.
Don't let him trick you either.
He did. He tricked me in that.
Can't say-
He tricked me.
He's not hard hat lunch pail. He had enough money that he could take out gigantic loans from people to own the oil rig. He wasn't out there pumping. He wasn't out there roughnecking. Don't let Jerry fool you. He was owning stuff the whole way.
The Jerry propaganda worked on me. I came away. I was like, man, I love
Jerry
this
was
dude.
like, I was so poor that the Teamsters loaned me a bunch of money to own 15 pizza parlors, and boy, I got it out the mud. Yeah, okay, all right, champ.
Hey, how are the Cowboys fans? How are you, Jeff, enjoying Matt Eberflus as your defensive coordinator?
I think it's great. I think there's nothing better than a coach who just does what he does and just doesn't worry about what his players are good at. I think that's incredible. I think it's great when you have a press man corner like Trayvon Diggs and you tell him, here's what we're going to do, buddy. You ready to be a zone corner? And Trayvon's like, I've played 0 snaps of zone in my entire life. And he's like, all right, sounds good. You got it. And then you take Donovan Wilson, who doesn't have a reverse button. He'll wear number 6 for the Cowboys. He's a safety for the Cowboys. And he doesn't know how to move backwards. And so Eberflus is like, here's the thing. Really like that cover 3. And I know we have a free safety on the team, but sometimes I want you to do that. Why? I don't know, but it'll be fun. It'll be a great experience. But he doesn't have reverse. And so he's just standing there. And he's like, when do I get to go forward? When do I get to go forward? Oh my God, they scored again. So I think it's also great that every time you blitz, you get really good results. And every time you don't, you get really bad results. And so that makes you never blitz. And so, yeah, I think Flus is off to a great start. Yeah, I think he's crushing it.
Well, so that's interesting, and this is what we've been used to. I mean, for the years he was the head coach here, we'd be ripping our heads out. On 3rd and 12, we knew what was coming, and that was that the corners were going to play 10, 15 yards back, and they'd give up the first down. It was almost comical how it would happen over and over. But I'm curious from your perspective then when you talk about, all right, when we blitz, it works. When we don't, it doesn't. Why don't we do this more? Are you anticipating, because of this vendetta game and Caleb Williams and him kind of knowing his limitations, that you might see a different Matt Eberflus from his philosophy this week, and he's going to dial it up a little more because of the quarterback and the team he's going up against? Or do you think he's going to stay with the old Flus philosophy?
I want to believe that he's going to do things differently because of what you're saying. Like it makes sense. I've got 2 weeks of evidence that when I send somebody extra, that good things are happening. We're forcing incompletions. We're making quarterbacks have to actually read what's going on, move off of their spot. And Caleb Williams, especially this year so far, if it's clean, stuff's good. And for a guy who moves so well and has the arm to put a ball anywhere he wants, he still struggles when that's what he's doing. And so, yeah, I would think that you would do that. It would make sense that you would do that. But it would also make sense that when you take over a team as the defensive coordinator, that you're familiar with what the players are good at, and you kind of try to put them in a position to succeed. And so if I had to guess, I will guess on the side of Flus is going to Flus, and he's going to do what he does. And that will probably give the Bears a chance to score a bunch of points.
Well, how's Kenny Clark doing there? Because the one thing Eberflus never really had in Chicago was a 3 technique and a D tackle, the caliber of Kenny Clark. I know he's on the second half of his career and some of his better years are behind him, but I'm curious how he's assimilated to what you guys are doing in Dallas on that defensive line.
He's been awesome. And I think even last year playing on his bad footsie when he got hurt in the preseason on a bad field in Rio, he was still like my problem with the world is I feel like a lot of people just take a pro football focused grade and that is their gospel. And so when the Cowboys made that trade, I was like, oh, pro football focus says Kenny Clark sucks. Let me go watch him. He didn't suck at all last year. He was a really solid player. And then this year, I think he's been even better. I think he's healthier. He has been, let me do this in my head and make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. He's been the best player on this defense. It's been a bad defense, but I think Kenny Clark has probably been the best pass rusher for Dallas and the best run defender for Dallas. It's like trading Micah is stupid. It's dumb. Trading Hall of Famers in their prime is not what you do if you're trying to win anything. But it is what you do if you're a really bad GM who's sensitive and he gets mad at a guy, so he just trades him instead of doing what's best for the team. But Kenny Clark's been really, really, really good. And I'm excited. I'm excited to have him because Oso Digizua next to him is a good defensive tackle too. Better as a disruptor than as a point of attack run defender. But we've never, the last time we had 2 good defensive tackles in Dallas was probably Jay Ratliff and something over a decade ago. It's been a really long time. It would be so cool if you had a strong interior like that and one of the best pass rushers on the planet. But sometimes you just got to do dumb stuff and not have that.
Well, we won't give Jerry any credit on this because it was, just kind of a low-rung move that Jerry probably doesn't get involved in. But third on the Dallas Cowboys in tackles, I'm shocked you haven't mentioned him yet, Jeff, because he's, just a hero of mine. And I called him the sand. I called him the sand god when he was here. Can we get the jersey out, please? That'd be sweet. Jack Sanborn in the middle of that Cowboy defense. He didn't get a chance to play the middle like he's doing down there here. But the Flus has just employed him. And I will admit that he has looked a little slow at times. But my guy, good old Jack Sanborn, have you fallen in love yet with 57?
Before the season started, I think we were half in love. We were hyping up Sanborn because when he got opportunities in Chicago, I thought he looked like a good player. Like that guy deserves a chance to be a starter. He deserves a chance to play a bunch of snaps. And then he got out there and Matt Eberflus treated him like he was Fred Warner. And so now my opinion of Sanborn has gone the entire other direction. I think the Cowboys linebackers for the most part have been bad so far this year. Murray had a nice little bounce back game last week, but if you pull a guard or do any sort of misdirection, he'll knock Sanborn out of the play. It goes into the same thing. I think Eberflus is asking people to do things they don't do. Suddenly Jack Sanborn's supposed to be, when you run cover 2, you got 2 deep safeties, and if anything's going down the seam, guess who gets to cover that? The middle linebacker. And it's like, all right, here is Jack Sanborn, 30 yards downfield, trying to stop a Wandale Robinson bomb. So I liked Sanborn, and I like everyone as a person, and I cheer for everyone as a person. Not a big Sanborn football fan at the moment, but it's mostly Eberflus's fault, which guess whose fault that is ultimately?
Jerry's.
There we go.
Everything is Jerry's fault at all times.
Well, while we're on the discussion of players that me and Carm have loved that may not be worthy of a typical roster spot, but we have this affinity for him anyway. I was a big Reddy Stewart guy last year. He made the roster for the Bears, or at least the practice squad. He made some plays in preseason. Deron Bland is out. I know Bears fans are probably happy about that. It's obviously not great for you guys. So just curious how this secondary is going to shake out, when they come to Chicago here on Sunday.
So Reddy Stewart is he's a starting nickel. If you have 3 corners on the field, Reddy Stewart's on the field. And I honestly believe that last week, Reddy Stewart was the best defensive back on the field for the Cowboys, which is kind of insanity when you have the players that make the money that the Cowboys have. So I don't know a ton about Reddy Stewart other than watching film of him play 1 football game last week. But boy, he did not look lost. He looked ready. He was the 1 DB that I think looked like. It is hard when you're doing tape things because you don't know exactly what is called. And the nickel guy is the guy who I'm going to be least confident in what he's doing. But cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, I know exactly what the corners and the safeties are supposed to be doing. But he didn't look out of place, and I thought he just played a solid game of football playing the nickel. So that helps because it always looks and feels real bad when you lose a starting corner that's a good player, whether for the Cowboys it's Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland. When you start just running off the names of the guys that are going to be on the field and you either aren't real familiar with the name or you are familiar with the name and you don't want them on the field, that can be real scary going into a game. But Reddy Stewart's off to a really good start, I think.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. And he was available a few weeks ago, and the Bears have been hurting in their secondary, all summer. And Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon have been on the injured list dating back to training camp. So when I saw the Cowboys picked him up, I wasn't surprised. And I'm also not surprised to hear this is your first impression of him. The guy's a ball hawk and not afraid to get in there and grind it out.
This is one of the few times, Jeff, that Greg was, he really sat you sat him in my seat, and you took a guy that was not getting the respect, and you identified it, and you were right. That's good. Congratulations. Jeff, the Bears need to really win a football game. Chicago is going to melt if we lose to Eberflus at home and start the season 0-3. So give me your prediction here, and if it is Dallas, I'll just close my ears, and so will Bears fans. But what do you think happens on Sunday?
Chicago's going to melt. I think there is a chance that you could feel good about the direction of the Bears offense by the time this thing is over. But I do think when you look at a Bears defense without their top corners, and you have to deal with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and Dak Prescott, Caleb Williams is talented, but I think it's two teams that top to bottom roster-wise need some help. But I think one of them has the more experienced and better quarterback, and the connection with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, I think, is too much. I also love what Clayton Adams has done with this offensive line in terms of how they're run blocking and making Javonte Williams appear to be a really good NFL running back again. I think the Cowboys have too much on offense for the Bears, unless Flus just goes full Flus. If the Bears can beat the Cowboys to 40, you can do this. But I'm going something like Cowboys 33, Bears 23. Chicago's going to melt, unfortunately.
Would you enjoy it, though, if the Bears somehow did get the Flus and then all of a sudden they celebrated by running over to fake guard the sidelines, or something along those lines? Maybe they did some level of a Hail Mary, something, just a little taunt. Wouldn't that be fun?
I mean, I am enjoying bonding over your bad head coach and my bad defensive coordinator, because I think camaraderie is important. I think fellowship is important. And I think that it's nice that we're able to do that. Jerry Jones is the worst general manager of all time. Go Cowboys.
Hey, Jeff, appreciate it. Our fans loved you, and they want you to take my job and come up here. So hopefully that won't happen for me, but it's a
cold
nice
up there.
Yeah, there you go. You don't want to do that. Appreciate it. Enjoy the weekend. Thanks for making the time, brother.
Love you.
Jeff Cavanaugh, DLLS. We do have unbelievable next two segments coming up here. That's right. I said
unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
You will not believe it.
The whiteboard, Hoge in his basement, filmed by his wife, is coming. But first, we love our friends at Shady Rays. You know the moment when you realize that you left your favorite sunglasses at the beach, or you left them somewhere. I have no idea where they are. But hey, listen, Shady Rays is going to take care of you. The absent-minded sunglass-wearing amazing purses. That's why Shady Rays, they've changed the game for me. I used to I had given up, but then Shady Rays came along and they made for a real change because they look good, and then they replace them if you lose them. Good-looking, polarized, durable, not stupidly expensive, very affordable. We here have teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. You go to shadyrays.com, use the code CHGO. You get 35% off their polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. And don't worry, if you lose them, they'll send you another pair. Shady Rays is eyewear that has your back.
That's right. And another person that has your back is the GameTime app. GameTime app gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly easy to use, and most importantly, the GameTime guarantee means you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. I always love going on GameTime when I'm looking for last-minute tickets. You go on there, gives you an aerial view of the stadium seating selection, tells you what the hot deals are, tells you what the cheapest deal is, shows you all the different deals that you're looking for, whether it's 1 ticket, 2 tickets, 4 tickets. GameTime has them for you. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with GameTime. Notre Dame plays Purdue here this weekend. Hit up GameTime when you're going to that game. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the GameTime app today.
Sweeping the nation is the whiteboard. It's unbelievable how many people have been calling for this.
Before we hit the whiteboard,
I've
got a challenge for our chat here.
Okay.
If I get one CHGO YouTube member, I will drop a bunch of new emojis. Just one during this whiteboard segment.
Okay.
I'm ready to go. I'm one click away.
So we need one new.
There's a link that's pinned in the chat. You could click that link. You can become a member right now.
Okay.
That could be our MVP member. That could be our Hall of Fame member. I'll let you guys pick.
Let's look at the way Steven just raises the bar in a consistent manner. As do you, Greg. As do you, Hoge. Let's go to
Whiteboard wasted.
Let's go to the mansion. Let's go to the basement. Let's go to Hoge. Let's look at the Cowboys and see what Hoge has dialed up. Okay, slight technical difficulty. We do believe that we have it.
It is in there.
We do believe that it might work.
Here we go. I got it.
We now see it, so I think we're good. Once again, to the basement, to the mansion, to the Hoge.
Time for our Week 3 whiteboard with the Dallas Cowboys coming to Soldier Field. This is America's Game of the Week, 3:25 kickoff with Tom Brady on the call. Yep. These teams might not be that good, but when the Cowboys play the Bears, the ratings are still going to come. So it is America's Game of the Week. The Bears are a 1-point favorite, believe it or not. And the over-under, a very high 50.5. It's the second highest total in the league going into Week 3, behind only the Lions and the Ravens. A lot of offense expected in that game, obviously, for different reasons. Cowboys so far 1-1, considering their expectations after trading Micah Parsons. Not too bad. They played the Eagles tough in Week 1. Everybody saw that game. They did lose that one, however. Week 2, bonkers game against the Giants last week in Dallas, and they were able to win it in overtime. Just a wild fourth quarter there. Let's talk EPA per play, kind of just set the tone for this matchup. You can kind of see where these teams are at through 2 weeks. Dallas offensively has been very, very good, off to a good start. 7th in EPA per play so far, while the Bears defense 29th. A little concerning with that matchup and that disparity right there going into this game. However, Dallas's defense has been even worse. They're 30th. And this number is a little surprising for the Bears, who seem to be making a little bit of progress offensively, but they're still 27th in EPA per play through 2 weeks. Cowboys coaching staff, Brian Schottenheimer's first year as head coach, kind of a surprising hire after they moved on from Mike McCarthy. But he was the OC the last 2 years, so he's been there in Dallas, promoted from within. Remember, McCarthy called the plays, though, so still offensively some differences in what the Cowboys are doing and what Shotty is calling. Defensive coordinator, we know this guy, Matt Eberflus, returning to Dallas, where he was the linebackers coach for the Cowboys from 2011 to 17. He's now the defensive coordinator. It's his defense. He's calling it. We know this scheme very well, obviously, in Chicago. 14-32 as the Bears head coach the last 3 years. Nick Sorensen is their special teams coordinator. He was actually the 49ers defensive coordinator last year. Don't see that too often. He's sort of bounced between special teams and defense throughout his career. Brandon Aubrey, the kicker. Got to be aware of him. Best kicker in the league right now. If they get to the C, the logo at midfield at Soldier Field, basically in field goal range. That's how big his leg is. And then Cavanaugh Turpin, he's been dealing with a neck injury, but he's one of the best returners in the league. Be interesting to see if he's back there or not. If he is back there, you want to kick it to the other guy, Tolbert. Do not want to kick Turpin the ball, and I wonder if the Cowboys will be careful with him. He did not finish the game last week. Maybe you keep him off of return just to keep him healthy. Let's talk about who the Cowboys gained and lost this offseason. Obviously, the biggest one, Micah Parsons, traded right before the season. In that trade, they got Kenny Clark, Bears nemesis, back. He's the nose tackle. You'll see him right here throughout the game. He's had, he's feasted on the Bears before. George Pickens, wide receiver. A lot of names here that you know. Jadeveon Clowney, they just signed. How much will he be involved in his first week with the Cowboys? Will he be out there? I would say probably. They need pass rush help, so they went out and signed Clowney this week. Murray at linebacker has been a big addition for them. And Javonte Williams off to a great start. We'll talk about him in a little bit. The running back, they also signed Miles Sanders, so sort of redid their entire backfield in terms of the running backs. Tyler Booker they drafted, right guard in the first round, and Ezeraku is an edge rusher to keep in mind. I thought he flashed a little bit in the preseason. I like what I saw, but so far he hasn't been involved too much in Dallas's defense. Our marquee matchup this week, no surprise here, Ben Johnson versus Matt Eberflus, the Bears offense versus the Dallas defense. It's been a struggle for the Bears offensively so far. When you look at the advanced metrics, success rate, basically just how much are you actually running a successful play, 31st in the league so far. Rushing, not good. EPA per rush, 31st. Bears really got to get the run game going. Little bit of a glimmer of hope in the passing game. From a deep ball percentage, the Bears have actually been throwing it downfield the third most through 2 weeks. However, the EPA on those sort of in the middle of the pack, 18th. So yes, they're throwing it deep. That's good. It could still be a little bit more successful considering how much they are doing it. When it comes to Dallas's defense, you guys know this scheme already. You know they're going to have 2 high safeties a lot. Run that cover 2. 57% of the time, Flus has been doing that so far. That's first in the league. Blitz percentage, only blitzing 18% of the time. That's 28th in the league. Believe it or not, though, Dennis Allen, the Bears are only 27th. So they're just barely ahead of Matt Eberflus and what he's done so far. And when the Cowboys blitz, their EPA rises up to 11th. So they've had success when they blitz. However, when they don't blitz, which is a lot, dead last in the league. So how much is Matt Eberflus going to try to heat up Caleb Williams this week? Try to get him under pressure with some blitzing. Doesn't do it a lot, but when he does, I think that's going to end up being a big storyline in this game. Look at some of our matchups here. When you look at the Dallas defense, first of all, when it comes to injuries, Diggs is dealing with an illness. He's on the injury report. Deron Bland is the big one, though, because he wasn't able to go last week. He did not practice Wednesday. A guy Bears fans might remember, Greg Braggs' guy, Reddy Stewart, filled in at nickel. So if he's back out there, the Giants were able to get a ton of big plays on this defense downfield. Russell Wilson all of a sudden looked like vintage Russell Wilson again last week. So if they're shorthanded in their secondary, and honestly, even if they're not, with this deep ball percentage the Bears have had, there should be shots available downfield. The question is, does Caleb Williams get his feet set, get the feet lined up, throw accurate footballs downfield? That'll be huge in this game. And then when it comes to DeAndre Swift, he's on the injury report with a quad injury. So I wonder, this guy right here, number 25, Kyle Monungai, does he get more involved this week? Bears need to get more out of their running game. Swift kind of struggled in pass protection last week as well. Does Monungai get more opportunities? It would not shock me this week if that's where Ben Johnson goes. Otherwise on this defense, Jack Sanborn. He's been playing a lot of will for the Cowboys, though, which is not where he played for the Bears. I think he's been exposed a little bit in that spot. Just keep an eye on number 57. Bears fans still love him, but I think he's slightly out of position in this Dallas defense. Not surprising, though, to see Flus sign Sanborn after the Bears moved on from him, wanting a little bit more speed out of their linebackers. In terms of where the Bears can get matchups, though, I mean, DJ Moore, these wide receivers, Rome Odunze has been having a big season so far. Can he keep going? And then I'm going to go here to number 10, too. Luther Burden, get him involved. Olamide Zaccheaus is a good player, but can they get shots downfield with Luther Burden? Because Wan'Dale Robinson, of all people, for the Giants last week was able to do that. Let's see if Ben Johnson can dial up some shot plays, because I think the Bears will continue to have advantage with their weapons. Let's move to the other side of the ball. Dallas offense going up against the Bears defense. This has been a good unit so far for Dallas, especially running the ball. They are third in EPA per rush. Javonte Williams, very surprising, has been the number 1 running back in the EPA so far. Small sample size, 2 weeks, but they are off to a great start running the ball. And then I don't even put a number here for the Bears. It's just been bad. They got to step it up. They're hurt as we go down to guys who were expecting to be out. These guys have not been ruled out yet, but we know Jalen Johnson isn't going to play this week. Ben Johnson did confirm that. And then Kyler Gordon and TJ Edwards listed as week to week at this point, so unlikely that they're going to play. That puts Noah Sewell here back in the mic with Edmonds going back to the weak side spot. it's kind of a mess here up front. Nashawn Wright, we go out to the outside. He was drafted by the Cowboys, so a big spot for him. He's actually been pretty good. He rates really high in a lot of metrics so far this season. So Nashawn Wright, from going back, he's playing the team that drafted him and still in Chicago. 3rd-round pick from the Cowboys. I'm sure he's going to be highly motivated, but these are tough matchups here. CeeDee Lamb, who's going to stop him? George Pickens, who's going to stop him? Tyreek Stevenson has to step up, obviously, as the Bears try to patch all this together on the fly with Dennis Allen. Now, if you're looking for possibly some good news, I never like to say injuries are a good thing, but the Cowboys did have a big loss last week with their center Cooper Beebe being out. Hoffman steps in. Guyton's dealing with an injury at left tackle, so maybe some opportunities up front, and this is where it comes down to rush and cover, rush and cover. These guys up front need to get more of a pass rush on Dak Prescott, or he's going to stand back there all game long and probably hit some bombs on the Bears' beat-up secondary. It's a tough one this week. Bears got to win. There's your whiteboard look at Week 3.
So what I'm learning is that I need to actually do Carm's notes for the whiteboard. There's so much damn information in there. And then there's people like Braggs in the stands saying, this dude is such a gigantic nerd. That's all I ever take from these. Would you like to apologize to your teammate for your reaction to the whiteboard? What kind of person are you?
No, I'm not going to apologize. But shout out to Krista, another fantastic job.
Yeah,
I mean, the fact that she didn't, pass out from boredom halfway through that and just fall over.
People love the whiteboard.
The whiteboard, it's good.
Hashtag Hoagie wife. Hashtag
very informative.
Hashtag elite performance. I did not know that the Bears were 31st in the NFL in positive plays. That stat was horrible. I also didn't know that Donnie was in 3 hours of meetings today, and he's back. And Donnie, I missed you. The wind in my sails just didn't feel as full.
I agree though with what he said. Rush and cover. Something we talked about on the Brick by Brick podcast coming up at 6:00. Make sure you tune into Briggs and Azuma. We really got it. The first 30 minutes were explosive commentary on how this team needs to wake up. But when you talk about everybody being so hard on Tyreek Stevenson and, 158.3 perfect quarterback rating against, throwing against him. Well, when you're not getting to the quarterback, and as Briggs said, it's not cover and rush, it's rush and cover. This team needs to get to the quarterback. This team needs to stop the run. And to me, you can pick on Tyreek Stevenson and Nashawn Wright are doing everything they can right now without Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon. But really, it starts up front for this defense. And if they don't wake up, then, yeah, the DBs are going to continue to get burned. But I think our angst should be focused on this defensive line waking up.
Fair enough. And Donnie, I did, courtesy of Greg's reporting during the whiteboard, I did have to adjourn to the restroom for the first 48
Carm
seconds.
comes back and sees my comment. He's like,
I mean, can a guy?
I'd like to give people the behind the scenes.
No, I know.
What's going on around here?
Well, let's go behind the scenes, kind of front of the scenes. Do we have our guy?
He left.
He was having issues?
Because you promised us 2, what'd you call them? Unbelievable segments.
Well, put Hoge's comment on the thing. Just let me, before I get to Chase Bandelick. We're literally doing that segment because Greg didn't think we covered the opponent enough last season. Now he's bored because we're talking about a team that's not the Bears.
They're actually very good segments and they're very informative. It gets you ready for the game. I actually do find a lot of value in it, but I also find a lot of value in calling you a nerd. It just speaks to my base of everyone that is in the chat. And if I call you a nerd or if I, make fun of Carm, that helps me. So even though I don't necessarily believe that it was boring, I say that because I'm placating to Meatball Island.
Right. No, we all we're doing here is trying to grow your brand. So we want you to be successful.
It's a very good segment.
You're more important than
Now,
any of
to
us.
be fair, Hoge, they were like, should we put this comment up while you were talking? And I said no after the segment out of respect to your great whiteboard segment.
That was really great of you. All right. Adam, good job. Good job, Krista.
Great job.
And for all you whiteboard wasted people out there, I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, it'll be back next week, I think. Okay. Chase Bandelick is my new hero. This is a man who's got his own training business called, conveniently, Chase Bandelick Training. And this is a Chicago Bears fan. This is an insane Chicago Bears fan, is how I should say it, who pledged that he's going to run a mile for every point the Bears lose this season. And now Chase didn't think he had to run after week 1, but he did 3 miles as they blew the game to the Vikings. And then, you thought somehow, some way they'd go up to Detroit and be competitive. No. 31-point loser, 31 miles. He had to run.
This man's legs are going to fall off.
And Chase joins us now here on our CHGO Bears podcast. Chase, we're just getting to know you here, so I need to know. Are we good? Yep. All right, there he is. Chase, good to see you. Thanks for making time. Congrats on what you're doing. How old are you? Because I'm worried you're going to you got to be – I hope you're in your 20s to be able to handle this thing, because this might not get – at least some weeks is not going to be pretty. I mean, this schedule is not easy. So I hope you're in your – I assume you're in your prime to be able to do this?
29 years old.
Okay, perfect.
She just made the cut.
Just
made the cut. So at what point in the 31 miles did you realize what a huge mistake you've made?
I would say pretty early on. I feel like I started to feel the mistake right just past halftime is when I really started to sink in with the onside kick, and then that led to the Lions taking over, and then that 4th and goal where the Lions scored the touchdown instead of going for the field goal definitely hurt a little bit more for the legs, but definitely felt it during the game and then felt it a lot more during the run.
So, yeah, you're fully invested then at the end of these games for these garbage time touchdowns where most fans are checked out. You might have some people that have, like, fantasy still on the line, but you're on pins and needles for the Bears to kind of, like, soften the blow for you when we get to the end of these kind of games.
100%. I'll see, like, a touchdown, and for most people it doesn't mean much in a blowout, but to me that looks like an hour of running. So every touchdown hurts. Even like a field goal, that's an extra 3 miles to add on. So it keeps you engaged throughout.
So people are wondering about your background here. And so Chase played football at Illinois Wesleyan. Chase, correct me if I'm sure I'm missing some of the things here, but just filling in from the Tribune piece. You played football at Illinois Wesleyan. Then you ran a marathon, the Chicago Marathon, back in 2019. He didn't just run the marathon team. He ran it with a weighted vest, which is crazy. And then he's just decided that, last couple of years I'm going to compete in 100-mile runs, 200-mile runs, and Ironman triathlons. So I don't know how much you'd like to go deep into your psyche, because I'm a big psychology guy. That was my major, and I've done more therapy than certainly anybody on this show. But so where does this part of your constitution come from that you're this searching for the rush, for the and just the ability to do it? It's all impressive to me.
I really appreciate that. It all started right after I was done playing college football. I love training for something. That's what made working out so much fun, was having a date on the calendar, which was usually a game week to week. But that's when I decided to sign up for the Chicago Marathon. I ran it with a charity. So in order to get people to incentivize them to want to donate, I said, if we get a certain amount by this date, I'll run it with a marathon with a weighted vest. And we hit the fundraising goal. I actually ran that marathon with a weighted vest before I ever ran a marathon. And then I love that feeling of putting out something that was really challenging. And for me, I usually put it out on the internet, so that keeps me accountable. And then just finding a way to get it done. So that led to wanting to do a 100-miler, 200-miler, an Ironman. I did 100 miles on a treadmill. And then actually just earlier this year, a few months ago, I ran from the bottom of Illinois to the top, which was over 400 miles. And with each of these things, it's just so fun to put something out there that you have no clue if you're going to get it done. You get into it, you have to figure it out. It's a lot of problem solving. And a lot of that transfers over to what I do with the gym, with the business. You got to pull all-nighters, and you're thinking to yourself, it stinks I got to pull an all-nighter, but it could be worse. I could be in the woods without sleep having to run. So it definitely translates to daily life.
So what, like, what's the speech you're giving to the Bears here on Sunday? I mean, you ran 31 miles for them last week. At some point, they need to start giving you some recognition.
Yeah.
And to me, I think this is your opportunity here. If you could give a speech to this team right now to rally the troops so they don't do this to you again this week, then what would you say to these guys?
We have a lot of good players, and go into the games feeling like you're going to win. Go into it feeling there's no possible way that someone's going to beat me. A race that I love is a last man standing race. And how it works is a 4.2 mile run. You do it every hour on the hour until there's one person left. And there's only one person who wins. So the entire time you're battling people doing 4.2 miles every hour until there's one person left. And the mentality I always go in with it is I'm either going to win or pretty much like I'm going to win or I'm going to die. Like that's the mindset you got to have is I'm going to put everything into this to find a way to win. There's no possible way someone's going to outwork me. And there's no other option when it gets later into the race, later in the game. They may like start to question things, but you're going to be so locked in with the only concept in your head is that you are going to win and you're going to find a way to win.
Wait, hold on a second. 4.2 miles every hour. How many people were in it at the start?
So there was one that I did that had about 150 people. And then I ended up winning one of them.
How many hours did that take?
The one I did went about 30 hours.
That is insane.
So 30. Do you want to do the math for you? 30 times 4. It's 120 miles. 0.2, by the way. Add that on. So that's it's another 6 miles. So
I mean, that is insane. I once, a few years ago, walked from Navy
you
Pier.
ran 136 miles in a day?
That's what I'm saying. I went to I walked 27, 28 miles from Navy Pier to Evanston to raise money for charity. Shout out David Kaplan. We did that together.
Let's go.
For Bernie's Book Bank. We walked it, and my feet felt like they were going to fall off for the next 5 days. And it also felt like I rode a horse to California. The fact that you ran that much is insane.
I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely have grown to love running.
What do you eat?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of regular food. You want to kind of stay away from the gels with the ultras. It's more so just whatever your stomach can handle. I'll do a lot of like chicken noodle soup, broth, honey stingers. I'll do like salt stick for sodium. The biggest thing is sodium. A lot of people are way under on their sodium. I usually shoot for around 1,000 milligrams of sodium an hour. And probably your average person is like around 300. But these longer races, the sodium is what really keeps you going.
You just drinking salt, just huffing down.
Drinking it, and then there's pills too that you could take. So I'll take like these salt stick pills, or they have like salt stick chewables that you could take down too.
I mean, Taco Bell.
Yeah, how much Taco Bell?
None. Yeah, no Taco Bell. Not until it's paid, at least.
So, all right, this is Chase. You're impressive on a zillion levels here. How'd you become such a Bears fan? Give me the genesis. Who gets credit?
Who gets the blame?
I would give it to my granddad. My granddad would bring us to Bourbonnais. We'd go see training camp, get the autographs. It'd always be so much fun. But I've always loved watching them. I feel like all year long, all I look forward to is the fall. There's nothing more relaxing than on a Sunday to just be able to like enjoy watching football all day. So been a huge Bears fan my whole life, but I'd say it started for my granddad and going to like the training camps and all that.
I get it.
Chase, I'm just trying to think about what we can do here to try to,
Well, it's not run with you. I'm not doing that.
It's not. We Chase, you have an open invitation to any of our tailgates. We'd love to have you.
Let's go.
I mean, maybe some motivational speaking in here.
Yeah.
This is good stuff.
What did you think of Detroit? I'm assuming you saw the video of the Lions put out after they beat the Bears, and their social team had you in the video where they're talking smack.
I was pretty shocked. I was scrolling and I started getting all these messages and I clicked on it. And at first I thought it was my video. And then I looked closer. I was like, oh, maybe it's like a Detroit Lions fan page. And I saw it was their actual page. But I don't know if you guys saw, but I left a comment under it. I said, when the Bears play Lions again on January 4th, if the Bears lose, I'll run double for every point they lose by. But I also challenge Amon-Ra St. Brown to run if the Lions lose. But also throw in, if he's not able to run, to have to wear Bears gear after that game if the Lions lose.
Take that, Amon-Ra.
Well, I mean, let's see if he's brave enough to take the challenge. They talk so tough over there. So, you know, I'm assuming he hasn't taken the bet yet.
Not yet. There's been some people tagging, so if you see it, keep tagging him below the comment.
Well, this is what we're doing right now. We're bringing it up now to see if he'll take the bait. If they're so confident, he'll take this because hey, no problem. I'm sure they'll win, right? Don't be scared, Amon-Ra.
Don't be scared, Amon-Ra. By the way, I mean, do you think you're more fit than I'm seeing people throw Beijing in here? I mean, that's the CrossFit guru here. This is supposedly the most fit quarterback in the NFL. My guy Andrew Hiller did that video. You think you could take him down?
He's very fit. I got to give him his credit. He's very fit too. I would say in different ways. For me, more so the long distance running. For him, CrossFit, like sports specific stuff, he's definitely got me beat.
Okay, there we go.
The running man.
You're the king. When's the next marathon you're running?
So I'll actually be doing the Chicago Marathon coming up in about a month, and then I'm doing the New York City Marathon this year, and then actually later this year in December, I'm going to try to set the plank world record. So stay tuned for that.
Pizzatola's greatest comment ever. I'll run a point for each point. I'll run a mile for each point the Bears win by. Good one, Pizzy.
Well, the Chicago Marathon comes right by our studio, so maybe we'll try to find you.
Yeah,
I'd love that. That'd be fun.
The marathon. Whenever I go out there, I just start. It's like I instantly start weeping. Because it's just so powerful. People putting all the line, running for cancer, running for their mom, running for their dad. It's just really such an unbelievable event. Running for the Bears is great too.
Running from the Bears.
Running from the Bears. Hey Chase, thanks for making time, man. Anybody who wants to find out about your training, how do they hit you up?
Awesome. You could reach out to me on Instagram at Chase Bandelick Training for the Gym. My personal account where you could watch these games and the recap videos is at Chase Bandelick. TikTok at Chase_Bandelick.
There you go.
Awesome.
Check it out.
We'll be rooting you on Sunday.
Yeah, good. We're good this Sunday. You're gonna get a nice week of rest. This is in the bag. We're taking down the Flus. I can feel it.
I'm with you. I agree. Bears win this week.
There we go. All right. Thanks, Chase. Appreciate you, man.
Take it easy. Go Bears.
Go Bears. Chase Bandelick.
Chase Bandelick. Crazy.
Very talented, driven young man.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's nobody that I know that actually works harder than you in everything you do on a daily basis, but he might have you.
He's got it. Steven works harder than me. Shout out to Steven. Although he was crying about his arm today.
Yeah, well, Chase was bringing up the
sodium.
salt, and I was like, "Oh, that's perfect timing." I woke up in the middle of the night, my arm's cramping, and I can't get it to stop cramping.
Who's the one that gave you the?
And you told me I need more salt.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that was actually interesting. Guys just plowing down salt. He ran 130 miles in a day. In a day.
I don't even know how that's possible.
4 miles. It went on 30 hours. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
That's straight crazy. All right, well.
It had to have been funny, though, halfway through the second half of the Lions game where that moment was like, dear God, what have I done?
One more bomb on the way. Okay. There it is. All right. Hey, tomorrow or tonight.
Tonight.
6
p.m. Central.
What can you tell us about tonight's Brick by Brick?
The Brick by Brick podcast will be back up and running. And Lance Briggs, Jerry Zuma, we're going to be talking about leadership. Lance had a really great story. I mean, because if you remember, Jerry came in to the Bears in 1999. Bears go on to eventually make the playoffs in 2001. Lance comes to the Bears in 2003 with Cordell Stewart and Chad Hutchinson and some pretty rough teams. And then they eventually made the playoffs in 2005. And Lance had a really good story about the transition from being a bad team to eventually them buying into being a good team. So I suggest you tune into it. It was some really good, passionate, heated conversations. And then we give the blueprint as we do every week on our Thursday shows, the blueprint on how to beat the Cowboys. And we're hoping the Bears actually follow that blueprint this week.
This is the week they're going to do it, damn it. 6 o'clock tonight, brick by brick. I want to pull up I ran into Dario. My man Dario, if you're at Whole Foods, big fan of the show. Shout out to you, Dario. Thank you for saying hello. That was cool. I meant to do that yesterday, but we got it done today.
Mm-hmm.
Gregory?
Yes,
Crystal donated $10 to Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Crystal's the greatest. Crystal loves the whiteboard. Crystal loves Big Brothers Big Sisters. Another $10 donation from our MVP, Crystal.
Oh, and then did I mention we got our YouTube member?
No, you did not.
We did not mention the YouTube.
How did I almost forget that? Our guy Fizzy right here, who I starred here in the chat, he became a YouTube member. I dropped all the emojis. I'm so sorry. I almost forgot that, Fizzy, but thank you for doing that. We have quite a few now that we could pick from. And the more members we get, the more we could add, and those are exclusives only to our YouTube members. We
what
have
are
two
some of
different.
the emojis?
You want me to go through them? I could pull it up right here.
Fizzy, fizztastic, and that's what you love about a Fizzy. He rises to the occasion when called upon. By the way, I'd also like to shout out Grace Carman, my amazing niece, who won another soccer game last night, still undefeated in her college career.
Oh.
Took down number 5 MIT this week. Let's go, Grace Carman.
All right, the emojis we have right now, we have the meatball emoji.
Yep.
We have a claw.
Claw.
We have reality spray. The W flag. These are for all of our teams, obviously.
Shout out the W flag and our CHGO Cubs team.
Yeah.
The Cubs made the playoffs yesterday officially. They still got work to do to clinch home field for the whole wild card round, which I'm rooting for. But it's nice to see a team here in Chicago making the playoffs. We need all the playoff vibes we can possibly get in this city and in this studio. We've never had a playoff series win in CHGO sports history outside of your fine 3-time championship softball team. But outside of that, on our professional level, not that you're not running a professional operation over there with your softball team, but we're looking for a playoff series win. So that's why I wore my CHGO Cubs shirt today. Excited for the fans to be back in the stands at Wrigley Field for the playoffs, first time since 2018. So what other emojis? I know you cut you off.
We have the Carmonica, of course.
Oh, boy.
There it is.
We have the Caleb Claw.
All right.
And then this one's for our Blackhawks. They use the term pud whack to refer to certain stupid players that they don't like.
Pud whack, I've not heard in a long time. That's a good bring back right there.
We got the hat throw for the Bulls.
Is that even
Matt Peck.
appropriate?
Well, it's in there.
What is the
Don't worry about it.
What does the pud whack emoji look like? What?
It's just the words.
Oh, it's just a word. I was gonna say what? I thought it was an emoji.
Let's not get all literal there.
Well, I mean, we're talking about emojis, so I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Pud whack.
We have Goon of the Night for Bulls. We have Sickos.
Okay.
And we have a number 98 for Bedard. We got more of those coming as a little hint for player particular emojis. The more people we get to sign up, the more emojis we could use. As you can see, Philip Averill is showing off some of them in our chat right now. Philip Averill, also shout out to you. I see his birthday is on Sunday. He lives in Texas. He would love nothing more than the Bears to beat the Cowboys. Let's make this happen.
Let's go, Philip.
Get it.
And Preston got his tailgate tickets for Sunday. See y'all there. Preston, please say hi to me before you say hi to Greg or Adam. Although if you get there at 6 a.m., then you'll only be able to say hi to Greg, even though it's still what time does the tailgate officially start on Sunday? 11:30?
It's a 3:25 kick. So probably 11:30. I should know this, but I'm going to be there before so I don't know. Go to allchgo.com/events.
Yeah.
And you can find out for yourself.
You'll be holding court.
But it starts Sunday in the morning at some point. But I'll be there. Steven's looking it up.
I'd
Maybe
like to
he isn't.
personally apologize for yesterday's short show, so that's why we're going extra long today. But it's now time to say goodbye.
Well,
It wasn't a short show. It was a normal length show.
It
You
was an
guys
hour.
think that's a short show.
Yeah. Felt
well,
short
I
to
mean,
me.
like Ben Johnson, 2-hour, 15-minute practice yesterday. We're doing a longer show because it's time to lock in.
I love that Ben went 2:15. 2:15. It is time to lock in. I love that Ben went 2:15. It is time to lock in. I love that Ben went 2:15. It is time to lock in. 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 It is time to lo
That's
I'm
it.
talking myself into picking the Bears on Sunday.
That's what we do.
I haven't gotten there quite yet.
It's like amnesia. You know, it's almost like they say, like, when you get pregnant and you forget. This is what they say, Tony. They say that when
you get pregnant,
when you get pregnant, then you forget the pain that you went through, so you get pregnant again.
On pregnancy.
Tony goes, let's not go there. But that's what they say. And so I think it's like our pregnancy amnesia, like the pain that we went through last week. By halfway through the week, we forget, and we want to have our Bears baby again.
Okay.
All right. After whatever that was, I want to also shout out JR, who just became a YouTube member as well.
You're a great man with a great plan, and it's a privilege to be able to sit next to you whenever I get to do it. We will see you at the tailgate. For those of you coming out on Sunday, we'll see you on Brick by Brick tonight. Hoge and Jahns tomorrow. Pre-game is at 2:15 on Sunday. Sounds about right, roughly, right in there. So, yes, I am saying a prayer to the football gods that the Bears win a football game this week, but we shall see. Hey, it's not about wins and losses. It's about the quarterback and the head coach getting on the same page, now talking to myself and the show, Carm. We'll see you when we see you next.
We all silly like the mayor.